Sometimes a megaproject gets so big that it soars over its budget, whether it's due to construction obstacles or companies biting off more than they can chew. Some projects end up costing billions of dollars more than they should have. From the world's most expensive buildings to highway projects and even the International Space Station, let's take a look at the megaprojects that blew their budgets out of the water. Silk City, Kuwait. We'll start in Kuwait, where a new city currently in progress is already almost $50 billion over budget. Silk City in Subia hopes to put Kuwait on the map as a global investment hub. It'll be made up of 4 quarters that'll host facilities like hotels, sports stadiums, hospitals, and an airport. Once complete, it'll be home to about 700,000 people. Silk City began with an estimated construction timeline of 25 years and a budget of about $86 billion. The city's most ambitious building is a 1-kilometer high skyscraper called Burj Mubarak. At 3,284 feet tall, the tower is expected to host 7,000 people across 234 floors. The tower is sectioned off into vertical villages, which will host everything from hotels and apartments to offices and entertainment. Burj Mubarak will be one of the tallest and most expensive buildings in the world. Its construction is a big part of the reason why Silk City's budget has already ballooned to 53% over original estimates. It's now forecasted that at least $132 billion will be needed to complete the city. One challenge the project faces is making sure its kilometer-tall tower is stable. Burj Mubarak will be made up of 3 interlocking towers twisted 45 degrees each to provide stability. Accomplishing this task and making sure the building is outfitted with powerful, fast elevators have contributed to the project's budget surplus, but the government still believes the investment is worth it. California high-speed rail. The state of California also had big dreams when they embarked on this next budget-breaking megaproject. When they decided to build a high-speed rail system, they imagined zipping across the state easily at a low cost. What they didn't imagine was a budget ballooning by billions of dollars and a completion date that just keeps getting pushed back. Back in 2008, the California high-speed rail was announced with an initial price tag of $33 billion. The rail system was designed to stretch across the state, with trains traveling 220 miles per hour, making travel between San Francisco and Los Angeles possible in just 2.5 hours. The system was supposed to be operational by 2020. It's still not finished. Now the cost has increased to about $105 billion just for the 520-mile track from Los Angeles to San Francisco. There are a few reasons for this increase, but it all comes down to poor planning. The developers have run into issues by building on land that hadn't yet been acquired, choosing contractors with faulty plans which caused budget overruns, and even starting construction on routes that were never planned. Now the project is even facing lawsuits. Costs are only expected to keep rising as the completion date gets pushed further back, leaving the megaproject's finish line out of reach. TransEuropean Transport Network. Transportation networks in general are complicated. The TransEuropean Transport Network, called TEN-T for short, is a vast series of roads, railways, airports and water infrastructure in the EU that's been consistently adding billions of dollars to its budget over the years. TEN-T projects are generally funded by governments, but money also comes from the European Community Funds, loans from international financial institutions, and private funding. Since its creation, its many networks of funding have spent about 47% more than they thought they would on the transport projects. The estimated costs so far are about $600 billion. Of course, it's hard to budget a vast continuing transportation network, and that $600 billion is just for the core network. To complete all the proposed transport plans, some budget estimates say as much as 1.5 trillion euros could be spent on the network by 2050. This cost would include investments in urban transport, digitalization, and maintenance. The Suez Canal. The thing is, transportation is costly no matter where or how it's accomplished. Let's look at the Suez Canal as another example. The 120-mile man-made waterway connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean, providing a route from the Far East all the way to Europe. This canal is a popular and necessary shipping corridor for many countries, but since it was initially built, it's estimated to have reached about 2,000% of its initial cost estimate. It can be a bit difficult to establish how accurate these estimates are, since the canal was first built in the 19th century. It was proposed around 1839. based on the findings of French engineer and explorer Linant de Bellefonds. After some planning and the creation of the Suez Canal Company, it took 10 years to build and officially opened in 1869. It's now operated by the Suez Canal Authority and open to ships from all around the world. The cost of constructing the canal is estimated to have been about £500 million francs in 1870s money, even though its original budget was supposed to be about 200 million francs. Converted to today's money, it cost about $2 billion. The thing about the canal is that it's been improved, updated, and of course maintained over the years. In 2014, the Egyptian government started an $8 billion one-year expansion project. Fortunately, the canal brings in billions of dollars. When it was blocked by a ship in 2021, an estimated $9.6 billion worth of trade was held up each day. So the canal seems to be worth every penny that's been poured into it. The Sydney Opera House. Another grossly over-budget project that seems to be worth every dollar is the Sydney Opera House. Its construction was so poorly planned that it exceeded its estimated cost by about 1,400%. The Opera House was originally expected to cost just $7 million and open in 1963. However, none of that happened because it ran into major complications. For one, the design that had been picked for the theatre was not complete, and it didn't lay out the proper methods for constructing the building's complex roof. Substantial delays occurred when the designer, Danish architect Jorn Utzon, had to alter his blueprints after the government decided they wanted 4 theatres instead of 2. Then, in 1966, Utzon was forced to resign after they stopped paying him. New architects were appointed and changes were made, causing even more delays. The Sydney Opera House was eventually finished, but it was 10 years late and cost about $102 million. A 2005 article in Harvard Design magazine went so far as to call the project literally the worst example of mega-project planning and a lesson in what not to do. Though no one can doubt the Opera House's iconic status, it's since been used as an example of just how hectic and disorganized a mega-project can get without proper planning and leadership. International Space Station. Last but not least, let's have a look at the most expensive mega-project ever, which costs billions of dollars to operate and maintain every single year. The International Space Station has hosted more than 250 people since 1998 and has been continuously occupied since the year 2000. The ISS's main construction took place between 1998 and 2011. Back in 1993, NASA estimated that the project would cost up to $17.4 billion, but by 1998, they admitted that it would cost at least $3.6 billion more. At the time, this budget increase ranked as one of the worst federal technology overruns in recent history. The station is continually evolving with new components, missions, and experiments. Over its 20-plus years in orbit, it's racked up more than $150 billion worth of costs, making it the most expensive thing ever built. Currently, it costs about $88,000 to $164,000 per person per day to operate things. In total, keeping the ISS in orbit and running properly costs $3 to $4 billion per year. 15 different nations contribute to these costs. Of course, the ISS will only get more expensive. It's estimated that its total costs could reach $1 trillion in its lifetime. This includes maintenance costs, extensions and improvements, and even the potential cost of deorbiting the system after its uses are fulfilled. NASA has approved an extension of the ISS to the year 2030, though its fate and cost after that are unclear. Now be honest, do you think that these budget expansions are worth it? Let us know which mega projects you think are worth the extra cash and which ones just aren't in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video if you had a good time and subscribe to our channel for more bank-breaking mega projects. Thanks for watching.